All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Ready to go. Who's there? I got 18 people on the line. Let me see. Let me see your faces. Good. All right. 19 people. And joining. I can barely see. It's tiny, the photo. Hold on. Oh, that's right. That's funny, Jonathan. You're around all these famous people, man. You'll be making a whole lot of money. Just waiting on a few guys. Drop questions in the chat if you want. I'm just making sure that I get a few more people to start because this chapter is the only chapter we're going to cover today. It's mortgages. It's the basics of mortgage. Okay, and but if you have any questions, I will address them now. Meanwhile, making just a quick change over here to my settings. Drop questions. Any questions from yesterday? Questions from today? What we're gonna about to address. You want to talk about something? Do it now. Sorry, really just working on something. You guys, I have 21 people here on the line. Two coins. $23, and they're joining. Good. Again, I don't want to start this chapter without having at least the majority of people, so I don't have to repeat everything all over. got it. Sorry, it's just that I'm going to be switching back and forth between screens, and I really just want to make sure I have this screen correctly. All right. Cool. All right, 25 people are here. So for those of you that started in the beginning, we're at the end of the second week. So what does that mean? It means we're halfway because it's 4 weeks, right? So started. All right, Ria's not any trying to get in. What are we missing? Oh, Ria's in. Okay. Here. All right, perfect. As you can tell, this is going to be one of those days. All right, cool. So my tools are working. Right. Yep. All right, since there are no questions, we're going to move straight to today's chapter. And in today's chapter, we're going to talk about mortgages, okay? Now, I really, really need you guys. I see some of you are driving, some of you are out in the street. It's not the most heavily tested thing, but right now things start complicating. It's been easy so far, right? So things are going to start complicating. So we're going to be a little bit more technical. We're going to get into mortgages and all the details of mortgages. Next week, we get into appraisals. So we finish mortgages, we get into appraisals. Then we start getting into title, closings, developments, and so on. So it's going to start getting a little bit more technical as far as the operations in real estate itself. All right. So I really, really need you to pay close attention. If you are in a place where you're going to be distracted, then make sure you jump to a place where you can focus. All right. This is a very, very short chapter. It will take long because, again, we are talking about the basics. And if you don't understand the basics, there's no point in doing chapter 14 or 15 where we're going to actual details of mortgages. You guys got it? All right. So going into mortgages, one of the first things that I do is I separate. So let me take basics out of here. I like to understand the meaning of things, so I separate these into two. So what you need to understand about mortgages is not what a mortgage is, but what it means. Because once you understand what it means, it'll be a lot easier for you to understand what it is. You guys got it? Okay. So let's start with this first word right there. Okay, we're going to start with mort. Who can tell me, drop in the chat real quick. Okay, drop in the chat. Who can tell me what does mort mean? What do you think mort means? And 2 people answer. Okay, 3. Got death, death, death. Easy, guys. Don't kill nobody. So, yeah. Oh, Sarah went straight for the kill. Like, let's not talk about death. I kill. That's what it is. All right. And Maurice said dead. So, no. Mort means death. Good. So mort means death. And gauge. Who can tell me what gauge means? Put that in the chat. There's no wrong answers, okay? So I might make fun of you, giving you a heads up, but there's no wrong answers. Gauge. Ah, come on, Tahira. That's not fair. Gauge. The word gauge. What does it mean? That's what I asked. I didn't ask for the whole sentence. I'm sorry. Gauge means piercing? Okay. Maria just wrote calculate. Sarah said offer. Okay. Barbara said marriage. Okay, yeah, could be. What else? Mauricio wrote gauge means to meaner. I mean that you try to say measure, size up, calculate. Right. Oh, means. Got it. Engaging, guarantee, kinda. Who's googling it right now? Yariel, okay. Leo doesn't say anything else anymore. He just joins and lets other people Google for now. Rio was googling too. Jonathan wrote pledge. All right, so mort comes from Latin. Let's go to this. Mort comes from Latin, means death. And, oh, Maria googled too. Gauge comes from a French word, and it means to pledge. Or it could also mean grip. So for those of you that wrote marriage and commitment and all that stuff, or engage into something, absolutely. That's where the word comes from. Because you're committing to something, you're pledging something, right? So let's go back to what Tahira wrote real quick. Put on the chat. She wrote, just to mess everything up, the head of the game. She wrote death pledge equals mortgage. And that's what we found out now, right? Between death and pledge, death pledge equals mortgage. The question now is, guys, death pledge, that's weird. Why would you get into a mortgage then if you're pledging to die or kill, like Sarah said? Okay? Anybody? By the way, can you see better this way, the comments? That's one of the things I was working on, make sure it was bigger so you guys could read. Okay. I got a thumbs up from Dimitar, we're good. Because he's like 3 miles away from the camera, so if he can see it, everybody can see it. Good. Sarah wrote, because they will take your house away if you can't pay. Well, we'll get there. But what does death pledge? I mean, taking your house away doesn't mean death. What do you guys think? Some of you already know, so it'll be unfair if you answer. Thanks, Carlos. I was just talking about you. So it'll be unfair to answer. But I'm glad you did. Exactly. When we're talking about death, we're talking about death of the loan. That still does not explain death pledge. But yes, when we're talking about death, it is the death of the loan. So eventually the loan dies because you're paying it off, right? So every time you make a payment, you're killing the loan. So what Carlos wrote here, it's called amortizing. Okay? So the killing of the loan is called amortizing. Now, we said that this was death pledge. That's what we said. Death pledge. So killing the loan, we got it. And pledge. So we're pledging to kill the loan. We're committed to killing the loan. Maybe. Right? I'll get to that in more detail in a second. But I want you guys to think about it. Again, if you don't understand. And by the way, the biggest mistake people make. I just want to, since you were halfway. The biggest mistake that people make when going to the exams is that they try to memorize stuff. All right? So I want to give you a heads up. If you're memorizing stuff, you will fail. If you are comprehending stuff, it doesn't matter how they throw at you, you will pass. All right? So I'm giving you a heads up. I've had in the past a couple of students that came up to me and said, Bruno, but I all the questions in the book and all the answers in the book, and I remember from the exam, I memorized everything. How come I didn't pass? Because the questions are not the same. We're talking about concepts, and then I'm giving you ideas of how the questions are asked, all right? So if you don't understand what I'm writing over here, it'll be very difficult for you to understand everything else and the questions, okay? So we're talking about death pledge. So we already know that we're going to kill off the loan, right? But what is the pledge? What is this commitment? Or why do we have this word here? That's what I'm looking for. Why do we have this word here? Grip. Death pledge or grip, because it means the same thing, right? Gauge means pledge or grip. Talk to me. Give it to me in the chat. I want to know. What do you think? The hero wrote Dave Ramsey style. All right. Carlos says, committed to kill our pockets with payments. No. Jasiel, you're telling me to hold, like until you get home, or are you telling me that hold, that's what it means, the grip? I want to make sure. Now, Connie, yeah, I mean, grip equals grasp or hold. I guess that's what Jasiel was saying as well, but it still does not explain what is a death pledge. What is that death grip? What are they holding on to? What is this? Come on. Give me something. Let's see what we got. They hold your death? That's marriage, till death do us part. But anyway, next. What else? Miriam wrote a lien. So we're going to talk about lien in a second. Yeah. Sarah wrote collateral. Get there. Maria, if not paid, they'll hold the property. Was that the book or was that Google? Which one was it? Or you knew it? No. We're getting close to it, guys. We're getting there. I got to make you guys work a little bit. Yariel just wrote, you pledge to pay till death or if you pay before. Shaisha said in your debt until the lien is paid off or you die. Maria says she read ahead a bit. Good. Mauricio, when you die, it goes. So till alive, it is yours to pay. Interesting, but no. That was a good answer, but not for this. But good one. Okay. I'm getting there. Just give me one or two more opinions of what do you think this might be. Death pledge or grip. Yeah, you're married to that bank. You are until death do us part. Death of the loan. Just one more or two. Come on. 6 o'clock. It's Friday. 33 of you made the decision to be here on a Friday. With beautiful weather outside. Oh wait, some are forced to be inside. That's what it is. Got to make light of the situation, right? All right, no more comments. That's it. We're done. You give up? All right. Let's hit this. Real quick. All right. We have... Oh, there are two comments. So let me see the two comments real quick, and then we'll go to that. So, agreeing to pay the property in exchange for a piece of paper contract. Close to it. Dimitar, till you complete the... Okay, so until you have not completed the payments, you do not own it. Actually, that is incorrect. If you're talking about a car, you're right. If you're talking about a house, not right. Because the deed is under your name, so you own it, not the bank. It's a little different for cars, but for houses, you are the owner. So right now, when we have a death pledge or a death grip, we committed or we pledge something that we call collateral. Okay? In this case, the collateral or the security is the house. Okay? So we pledged a collateral, right? and that is the house. That's what we pledged. That's what we committed. Now, in exchange for what? For the loan. So the lender gives you a loan, and you gave them the house. Now, let's address again what Dimitar said, right? You gave him the house, but not for them to occupy. Again, you gave him the house as a commitment that if you do not pay, right? If you do not pay, they can take the house away. You guys got it? So that's the commitment you've made. You can use the house, you can be there, you can live, you can whatever. It is yours. You have the 5 rights that we talked about in chapter 5 and recently, right? Yesterday we talked about them. You have those 5 rights, but the bank has an effective grip. And that grip we call lien. So they have a lien against your property, right? Against the property. So this is a cloud. You guys remember these terms? Is it starting to come together now? All right, cool. So what happened here is when we got a mortgage, because there are 2 documents, and I'm going to address both documents in a second. There are 2 documents. When we got into the mortgage, one of the documents represents the loan. The other document represents the house. The mortgage represents the house. So that's what we have. In exchange for the loan, right? I'll show you in a little bit, Courtney. I will go back, right? She just has to see the entire board. Right? So we have something called promissory note. And then we have mortgage. For a mortgage to exist, there must be a promissory note, or as we most of the times call it, just note. Okay? So these are the 2 documents involved with every single financed purchase of a house. Promissory note and the mortgage. One cannot exist without the other. So promissory note equals loan. Okay? Equals money. The mortgage equals what I just wrote before, security for collateral, and equals house. So what I'm trying to say here, guys, is very simple. Okay? 2 documents. Every time you see note, you have to immediately identify it with the loan or the money. Every time you see mortgage, you have to think of the mortgage as the security or the collateral, the house. So a mortgage equals house. Okay? The mortgage equals house. Also, let me address here. It's the lien. Sorry. So mortgage equals house. Every time you see the word mortgage, we're not talking about the loan. We're not talking about the money. We're talking about the house. And I'm telling you this because that's one of the biggest mistakes you guys make in the exam is looking for mortgage, looking for money. So when you go to the answers, you look for the money. Okay? So understand, we give up the house. We are the ones that give up the house. We're going to talk about this in a second. We give up the house to the bank, and what do they give us in exchange? Money, a loan. Okay? Is this good so far? All right, so let's recap real quick. Mortgage. The word mortgage means death pledge or death grip. Until the loan dies, the bank has a grip, which we call lien, on the security or collateral, which is the house. And that creates a cloud against the title. Good? Courtney, I'm giving you 3 seconds. 3, 2. No, I'm kidding. I'll give you a little bit more. Make sure you guys write this down. Ria says, I like these diagrams. It will definitely help. I hope so, because it takes a lot of work to know how to draw these properly so you guys understand my messy handwriting. I do need to work on my penmanship. I know. Oh, thanks, Tahira. My assistant just rolled her eyes. I don't know if anybody saw this. She just rolled her eyes when I said I need to work on my penmanship. All right. It's cool. You're fired. I mean, but it is. Can I scroll down a bit? So this is how we started. I'm gonna scroll to the next one in a second. I will. I'll show you the whole board. I just want to make sure everybody got it. Carlos, I don't think I get it. Hit me. What's the question? What didn't you get? Again, very important you guys get this because without this, there's no point in moving forward. I'll repeat it as many times as I have to. And even those that get it, in a little bit, I'll mess you up with one of the things that's going to pop up. All right, so if I say I have a note, that means I have a house payment. No. What I said is, and here, Mauricio. What I said is, when you have a mortgage, the mortgage just represents the house. That's all it is. I'll show you in a little bit that what's written in the mortgage is the description of the property as a collateral or as a security for money that you borrowed, Carlos, right? If you have a note, listen, if I give you right now a check, let's say I give you a paper check right now, and it says, I'm going to make this simple because just in case he sues me for that money, I'm going to put $1 there. So if you ever want to sue me, I'll give you the dollar. But I'm going to put $1 in that check. And you're going to run with that check to the bank to deposit, right? Here's what you need to understand. That check is an IOU, and that's what this is. This is an IOU, meaning I owe you money, okay? So that means that the check is a promissory note. All it says is that I promise that I have money in the bank, and when you get there to deposit this check, you will receive that money. In terms of a loan, we're saying I promise that I do have the money to pay for this house, and I will pay in installments over several years if I do not come take the mortgage, meaning enforce the mortgage, take me to court, and that is now called a foreclosure. And that's how we're going to end this chapter, is talking about foreclosures. You got it? So Carlos is asking, so why do people call it? Are you guys good with this? Can I get out of this screen? Is there anybody that still needs to be here? If so, just write wait in the... Part of me wants me to say it all again. You're fired, too. I'm firing everybody today. It's one of those days. I will. I just want to show this. I will go back to it. I'm not moving forward until we get it. It says it's Friday. All right, who got the wine? Josh. Where's Josh? He's always drinking something. So, right up here, Carlos was asking, so why do people say I have a mortgage payment? Because most people, and that's why I'm going to mess everybody up in a little bit, most people don't understand the concept that I'm talking about right now. You don't have a mortgage payment. You have a financing payment, which is secured by a mortgage. Okay? When we say we're going to make a mortgage payment, right, which is the easiest way to talk about it, when we say we're going to make a mortgage payment, that means we're killing the loan slowly. It's dying, right? We kill the principal. The majority of the world, like there's a lot of stuff, guys, you're going to learn over the next 3 chapters. So today, and then Monday, Tuesday, and maybe Wednesday, we'll see how these chapters go. But you're going to learn a lot of stuff that we've been saying wrong all along, right? So this is one of them. We don't make mortgage payments. We make payments on the loan that we find that we on the money we borrowed to buy the house, which is secured by a mortgage. What is the mortgage? It's the house. It's a document that represents the house. All right. So going here again, the mortgage represents the house. Now, if you have a car, right? Let me ask you guys, if you have a car and you don't pay, what happens? Throw it back in the chat. We're going back to the chat real quick. What happens if you have a car and you don't pay? It's taken back. Repo. What they said. I like those answers. They will take it. Dimitar would know because he knows about cars, he said. So that's it. They'll take it. Repo. And Jeff, you hide it from the tow truck company, so don't bring it home. It gets a little bit more expensive, but yeah, sure. You can work it that way. So that's what's going to happen, right? They come and take the personal property, which is easy. But real property is something that's fixed and immovable. Can they come and tow the house away? Unless it's a mobile home, you can't. So that's why we have a document called mortgage, right? That represents the house, and that's what they tow. They grab that document, take it to court, and through court, they enforce the repo of your house. You understand? All right? Carlos, you got it? So mortgage is the house. Just like when they come tow the car, in this case, they come tow the mortgage, the document. That's what they file in court to get it from you. When they repo the car, they sell it at a public auction. When they repo the house through that document, right, they sell it at public auction. We're going to end this chapter. We're talking about the difference. If they sell it at auction, you owe $10,000 on your car, but they recover $7,000, you are still liable for $3,000. Does that make sense? With a house, they tow the house through that document, right, and the process of foreclosure. If they only recover $100,000, but you owe $200,000, right, then they'll come for the differences, which is called a deficiency judgment. In both instances, it's a deficiency judgment. All right? Let me know if you guys got it. Carlos, Courtney. I don't mind going at it again. I want to make sure everybody gets this. All right? And please, nobody lose patience today, because it is, again, a tough chapter, okay? So what do we got here? The lien on the house is the money you owe. No. The lien on a house is the promissory note in full. When they go to court, right? So we're getting there. When they go to court, they will have to tell the judge that out of the money you borrowed, you already paid down. So now in court is when we're talking about the money you owe. So the balance. So the promissory note is something you promised to pay and you gave up your house in exchange for that loan. You got it? Lien means money. Yes. It is money you owed, but it's not the money you owe. Let's make it just a distinction here. Because when you go to see the mortgage is not updated as you make payments. I just want to make it clear. The lien shows the money owed initially. So the mortgage shows the money owed initially. When we go to court, and I'll walk you guys through this between today and Monday and Tuesday. When we go to court, they will then present to court what is the balance, what you now owe. So I'm just trying to change this statement to what it was originally, and then in court to what it is now. It's not the money you owe, it's the money you borrowed initially. That's the lien. Can we enforce the full money you borrowed? No, if you already paid some stuff, when we go to court, in foreclosure, it's the money you owe. You guys got it? Make that distinction, please. Courtney, did you get it? Or do I have Courtney? The screen keeps changing for some. Have you here? Let me know if you got it. Where are you? You're okay for now? Okay, good. What else? Maria, so the promissory note. Hold on, did I have something else here? Two. Great. Lien equals cloud. Yep. So the promissory note doesn't happen. It happens only once when the loan is established. No, the promissory note happens at the same moment it is established. You sign both, one in exchange for the other. You sign both at the same time at closing, one in exchange for the other. Okay, because one equals cash, it's the loan, and the other one equals a house, and that's the exchange you make with the bank. What I was trying to tell you is that a promissory note exists stating that if you fail to make payments, they can enforce whatever the mortgage says, these two documents. All right? And that balance will change over time, but neither the promissory note nor the mortgage are updated as they go. The balance will be as they send you statements, but the promissory note, the document signed originally, stays the same. You guys understand? The originally signed documents do not change. So mortgage payment isn't a thing. It's a payment towards the mortgage to release the grip. In layman terms, in real life, we call it mortgage payment, but it's not the real thing, no. Okay? We make payments to release the grip, to release the mortgage. That's what it is. But the payments we make is on the promissory note. It's not on the mortgage, it's on the promissory note, because that's what we borrowed. It's a note payment, correct. So if we get a paper note, they get a mortgage paper. Yep, pretty much. Installments and amortization, we're going to talk about that. Okay. Mortgage is a house, yes. So it's a note payment, yes. Did everybody get it now? Thumbs up? All right, cool. Again, the way my system is right now, guys, and that's why I want you to test yourselves as much as you can with my stuff, because I get to visualize where you're struggling. Like today, for instance, I was looking at Quizlet, a particular chapter, I'm not going to address it right now, a particular chapter, and it gives me an idea where you guys failed the most with those Quizlets. So he gave me a hint on one of the chapters, says, hey, these 6 questions are often missed. You understand? The testing that I have online, for those of you that have been practicing, gives me statistics per chapter, and it gives me the answers as well that you guys are failing at. So I get to analyze those and focus more on certain things. This chapter, a few years ago, mortgages, I would do 2 chapters today. I would include this chapter with leases. You understand? But it got to a point, I'm like, no, I can't do that. If you don't understand the basics of this chapter, then how can we move forward? And I realized that by looking at the exams over the years. All right? So make sure you use as much as you can from my resources, because that will help me analyze you and the group and what I need to do for you. Okay? Erica says, I failed so far because I need to log on. English? You failed at? And you need to log on where? You failed at using it? That's what you're saying? You haven't logged on yet? Yes, okay. Yeah, so you're failing. That's it, period. You're done. All right. You guys good with this? You want to take a screenshot of it if you want, or maybe you're writing it down, whatever it is. Go ahead. Courtney wrote, signed promissory note states to show that you agreed in the loan payment in exchange for a house. Yes. Courtney, perfect. All right, let me go up and help you screenshot this one as well. Go ahead. Good? All right. Like I said, I just cleared this, and I hope you guys understood, right? But I'm going to show you that we already covered all this in the first page and a half. But I'm going to confuse you guys in a little bit again because of one particular word. Even though I just explained that word here, you most likely will fail to understand because of what we're used to saying in real life. Just like mortgage payment. You're used to saying that. It's wrong. All right? So payment towards the mortgage is different than mortgage payment. So towards the release of the lien. So let's go to the book. We already covered this, but I want you guys to note that I have this highlighted here. Note and mortgage. All right. Sorry, Courtney, I did not see your message. Hold on. The collateral is the house that can be repoed if you don't pay the loan. Lien is the cloud against the house. Yeah, so lien is the mortgage. The document itself is the lien, which can be enforced if you don't pay, then they repo the house, which is the collateral. So the mortgage represents the house, and that's what you sign. Yep. Okay. Good. All right, so everything is right here. It actually says mortgage is a pledge of real property that serves as security or collateral for a loan. And then it says that a note, or in sometimes also called as a bond, so note or bond is the same, because look, my word is my bond, and a lot of people forget that. My word is my bond. So what I tell you, it is, right? So when we promise something, we put on paper, or it's a bond. It's, again, we're committed to it. The pledge right there, it's a bond. So, and this is the financing instrument that says, I promise to repay the money you have just lent me at the following rates and terms, right? It says right here that it is the note that makes the borrower personally liable for the entire amount borrowed, even if the property goes down in value. The promissory note is the IOU. This is the one that makes it IOU. I owe you money. This is the one that makes me personally liable for it. So if the property goes down in value, as we know happened a few years ago, people still owed the full amount to the bank, all right? Even though a lot of people tried to get away with it. They go like, well, it just went down and it's not worth it. I'm not paying it. The bank has to drop the... Well, let me ask you something, because I had a loan modification company and short sale company at the time. And a lot of people came to me and says, Bruno, it's not worth it. They have to drop. They have to. I'm not paying. I don't want any type of modification unless they drop. Okay. So before we move forward, and I just want you to be clear about what you should expect from this, right? Before we move forward, here's my question. You bought it for 200. If the property goes up in value to 400, are you going to give 200 to the bank? No. Then why should a bank drop it just because you asking for it? Does that make sense? All right, guys? So you promise to pay that amount. It's like getting a car in the car dealer. As soon as you drive off, you lost $5,000. What, are you going to go back and say, hey, I just lost value, give me credit? You can't. That's how it is. And the more people drive, like Natalia is driving right now, the more you lose value. What it is. All right. Look what I've been saying so far. The note creates a personal obligation, and the mortgage creates what? The lien. But I said before, two documents. The note creates the personal obligation, IOU. The mortgage creates the lien, the cloud on the title. The mortgage is what's attached to the property. The note is attached to me, personal obligation. The mortgage is attached to the property. Because the note is a loan, like I said before, it's the cash, right, that you borrowed. And the mortgage is the house, it's the security, it's the collateral, therefore the lien that entitles them to repo. In fact, the mortgage itself is a security instrument signed by the borrower, and it states, if I don't keep my promise to pay, as agreed, what can you do? Bank, you may foreclose. What does that mean? Have the property sold at a public auction and use the proceeds to pay the debt. Cool. This is like pretty much a recap of what we went through in when I was drawing on the board. It's weird for me to say the board because it's a tablet, right? And you guys wrote board as well, but it's a tablet, so it's just weird. It's not. I used to have a board and I used to write on it, but it was very messy. I would get to the end of the day with my hands either red or green or black. Now, don't have that problem. Love technology. All right, can I move forward? Give me a thumbs up if you're good. 2 thumbs up if you're good. All right, 3 thumbs up if you're great. All right, now, are you ready to get confused? Look here. Leslie is like, I'm already confused. Sorry, smiling. Here you go. It is the borrower who signs the mortgage who does the mortgaging. We already covered that, right? Because he's the one pledging the property. So it's incorrect to say, Carlos and everybody else, it is incorrect to say, we'll find a bank to give you a mortgage. If we understand that the mortgage is a house, does the bank give you a house? We already understood that the mortgage equals house. Does the bank give you the house? No, they give you the loan, right? So what the bank gives us a loan, and in return, they take a mortgage. That means they hold a mortgage. That means they have a grip on the mortgage, on the property, right? You guys got it? How many of you have heard it? Let's find a bank to give you a mortgage. Or get you a mortgage. Let's go get you a mortgage. No, you're going to get a loan. You're going to get approved for a mortgage, right? If the house is valuable and it covers whatever you're trying to borrow, then you get approved for a mortgage loan. Got it? Next, confuse you a little bit more. We're just on the first page. Confuse you a little bit more. Actually, make sure you guys are not looking at the book. Make sure you guys are not reading anything. I want you to tell me who's the mortgagor. Mortgagor. The buyer, borrower, the bank, property owner. What else? There's 40 of you here. Come on. I need 40 answers, except from Natalia as she's driving. Everybody else, make sure you type. Who's the mortgagor? Courtney says, not the bank. Jasiel said, right? And that's a great answer. What else? The bank, the buyer. Dimitri's is like, bank buyer. Like, listen, both of them. Both of them are the mortgagor. I give up. All right, we got bank, borrower, owner. Okay. All right, cool. Bank. All right, you saw how it shows there privately, guys? You're now being shown on the screen. Make sure you don't send me private messages here, and make sure it's available for everyone so I don't have to keep on changing this section right here. I have to keep on changing. I don't want it, okay? Because then I would reply directly to you. Nanette, I always get confused with the or the E. Courtney, the person who purchases the property and receives the loan from the bank. All right, cool. So who's the mortgagor and who's the mortgagee? Ready? We have mixed answers. The mortgagor is the owner of the property. It is the one borrowing the money. Mortgagor is the owner of the property, the one borrowing the money. Okay? I'm going to show you an easy way to remember this. OR is short for owner. So if we take these out of here, we have O, we have R. OR is short for owner. Make a note somewhere. OR is short for owner. It's not, but it's a way to remember. So every time you see OR, and I'm going to prove it to you in a second. So OR is short for owner. OR. Owner. If this was football, this will be a great playbook right here. Put some X's here. That's it. I never understand their plays, so I think O's and X's will work. I was going to say X's and O's, but that would be a little weird. So. All right. You guys good so far? Now move forward because I'm going to show you, I'm going to create a little table for you guys to follow on ORs and E's. A few examples of ORs and E's. Okay. Courtney just wrote, I remember getting confused on the E and the OR. There were a lot of questions with this. Absolutely. That's why I'm going as slow as I can to make sure you guys grasp the basics of mortgages. Oh, okay. So Shaisha said that she's been taking the quizzes in the book. You haven't done it through the portal yet. Okay, no problem. Yeah, reach out to me and I'll show you what's there. You guys good? All right. So we're gonna go here. My whiteboard, the tablet. We're gonna go here and we're gonna draw something. Isn't that cool? All right, so you guys are gonna make a table. Doesn't have to be as pretty as mine. Don't worry about it. Okay. I'm gonna mess it up in a second right now. All right. So here's what I wanna have in this table. On top. Okay. On top, you're gonna write gives up property. So I have the house gives up. Make my V more like a V. And at the bottom, I'm gonna write on the right side, gives up. I'm gonna zoom out in a second, so don't worry. On the left, yeah, Courtney, you can use it that way if you want. All right, so let me zoom out. Make sure you have enough room because we're gonna write in between, obviously. So make sure you guys have it somewhat like this. All right. So on the left column, we have gives up the property, receives money. On the right column, receives the property, gives up money. Make sure you have that. I'm gonna give you a few seconds to write it down. Okay. I love messing with people. Ria, you're doing great at taking notes. You're out, I see. I wish I was out. Who else? Jasiel and Natalia are doing great too. Who else do we got? Yara, you need to have the camera on. Who else? All right, Sarah, I don't know what you're doing. Usually I see you on the patio. Now I got 3 pictures of you here, like 3 sessions. You're in 3 sessions. No, how are you doing that? Okay. Heidi here has inside the house. She has a lot of sun, so she's wearing a hat today. She's not outside today. And Maria's outside. She got jealous of everybody else being outside. She went outside as well. Okay, got it. All right. Just so you know, Sarah, nothing is private. She just wrote privately. All right, let's see what we got. I'm just giving you time. Make sure you got this. Make enough space because you're going to need it in case you made a mistake. Natalia says she's taking pictures of the drawings while driving. That's awesome. Be safe and don't tell the cops that I told you to drive and draw or take pictures of. Ria's almost home. Sounds like Leo. Leo was always saying the same thing. Always out in the woods and then almost home. Maria wrote 3 times the hours. I don't. Okay, for Sarah, got it. Sarah back from the beach today. Cool. She's done with the classes, so she's just using this as a extra. Okay. Josiel wrote Leo's with me now, so he's the one that's always distracting you from class and keeping you outdoors. Great, Mr. Google, you're fired. Today it's Friday. I'm in the firing everybody mood. All right, let's go here. Hope you guys made enough room. That's why I'm trying to give enough time. Made enough room in case you made a mistake here, but very important. Let's go. On the left column, you're gonna write. Sorry. You're gonna write grantor. Give enough space. You're gonna write lessor. And give enough space, you're gonna write mortgagor. Okay, so let me show you what you have to write. On the left column, you're gonna write grantor, lessor, mortgagor. On the right side, you're gonna write, obviously, grantee, lessee, mortgagee. Different kind of G, right? All right, so here we go. Where you see, if this highlights correctly, you guys can see it clearly? The yellow? Okay. On my screen, it doesn't look that good. Okay, so the yellow, you see OR, OR, right? Good. I've been doing this in so many different ways, just making sure that everybody gets it. So on your notes, you're gonna write OR equals owner. OR equals owner. Okay. Now, who is the grantor, who is the lessor, and who's the mortgagor? We know grantor is the seller. Okay, lessor is the landlord. Mortgagor is the borrower. Okay, here we have the E. All right. And who's the grantee? If the grantor is the seller, then the grantee is the buyer. If the lessor is the landlord, then the lessee is the tenant. Right? And if the mortgagee, I'm sorry, if the mortgagor is the borrower, then the mortgagee is the lender. Okay? So the E kind of like benefits from the situation, right? So the buyer benefits, they get the house. The tenant benefits, they get the house. The mortgagee, the lender, if you don't pay, what do you get? The house. So again, OR is the owner. E is whoever benefits from it. And also we have here E. Two E's, benefits. Okay. OR, owner. You want me to zoom out? That will end the meeting if I zoom out. Okay. Is this good enough? Can you see it? Now, let me ask you something. Tell me if this is not true. These on the left side, they give up the property to whoever's on the right side. And these on the right side, they give up the money to the one that's on the left side. That's the cycle. Can you guys see it clearly? Okay. And a few years ago, by now, I would be like on the 5th page already. Then I realized how important it is to go through these. All right. Did everybody get it? Is there anybody that's still confused about it? Let me know in the chat right now if you're still confused about it. Nope. All right, good. So if you're not confused, if you got it, we're going to move forward. Because now, time to confuse you one more time. Now we have hypopotamus. No? Hypothecation. That's a crazy word. Hypothecation. Now, what is hypothecation? It's the term used to describe pledging of property as security for payment of a loan without keywords, without surrendering possession of the property. So every loan has some type of collateral. Nowadays, in the US market, we have a credit score, and if you have good credit, we're going to believe in your credit score and give you something, right? But traditionally, they still try to get you to pledge something. So if you're buying a car, you're pledging the car that you just bought. If you're buying a house, you're pledging the house that you just bought. We believe in your credit, we believe in your income, you believe in all that stuff. But just in case, right? Just in case, let me have a grip on that stuff. All right? What we're saying here is that hypothecation is a loan that you get to keep the property that you pledged while you're paying. Okay? So hypothecation is a form of a loan, but where you get to keep the property while you're paying. Okay? So back in the day, you had to do what? Like, or if you go to a pawn shop, right? When you go to a pawn shop because you need money and you cannot get it anywhere else, you bring your gold, you bring your computers, you bring your phone, you bring whatever you can, and they give you money, but you have to leave the stuff there, correct? Yes? Okay. Because you left the stuff there, that is not hypothecation. Is a loan and the collateral is given to them. Hypothecation is you get to use and take advantage or benefit from the collateral while paying. When you finish paying, they cannot come after you anymore. But while you're paying, there is an existing loan, you get to use it. So without surrendering possession of the property. Questions? Anybody? Nope. Ariel is typing to me, or you just... Okay, good. I don't know. Sometimes it feels like you guys are chatting with other people, especially when I see somebody smiling and giggling and whatever. I didn't say any joke, right? So, let's see. Where's the challenge? What do you mean? In understanding hypothecation? That was it? Where's the challenge in understanding? Because if so, then you have the opportunity to explain to... Boom. Give an example. Go ahead, Uriel. Give an example. Like, where's the challenge? I got this. So Chaisha wrote, it's like a car loan. You're paying off the loan while using it. Absolutely. A car gets hypothecated. A house is hypothecated. Every time you get to use it, like, did you finance the purchase of your cell phone? You get to use it as you're paying. Hypothecated. Okay? Hypothecation is pledging the property. The net, don't go crazy. Just have some tea with mint, and all the background noise will disappear magically. All right, so it's similar to a firm, you mean? So the challenge will be switching two letters there. It's not Ephraim. Ephraim is some Jewish guy. A firm, a firm is a company that allows you to pay in installments for the stuff that you just bought. Yep. So you ordered a drone, they gave it to me, and I'm paying for the loan now. Good. You can use a firm even to pay for flight tickets. I did that to pay for my son's ticket last year. Paid in installments. I'm like, hell yeah. Enjoyment. Jeff wrote, darn T-Mobile. What's wrong with T-Mobile? The net, paying in installments. All loans are paying with installments. The difference here is that you get to use it while you're paying. All loans have installments. The difference, hypothecation, the difference is you get to keep it and use it as it goes. Ria just wrote, good to know. What, your next flight is going to be paid with a firm? There's so many things you guys can do with a firm, and there's other companies out there as well. All right. So basically, that's any credit card you use. Sarah, any credit card you use? No. Because credit cards are used to pay random stuff, right? So, well, actually, the problem with credit cards is that they're unsecured debt. Just like a firm, I want to address that, what Yariel was saying. Just like a firm, they're unsecured debt. Here, there's a security. There's the house or the car, all right? Unsecured debt. You know why? Because if you go bankrupt right now, do you have to pay a firm? Do you have to pay your credit cards? The answer is probably not. But if there's a house if you don't pay for the house, they can still enforce the lien and take it away from you. You get rid of the obligation of the promissory note, but the lien against the house still exists. You guys understand? So is it like credit cards? Is it like a firm addressing it in the right way? No, because those are unsecured debt. We are talking about secured. There's a collateral. Okay? On a side note, take advantage of a firm and companies like a firm, because you can buy a lot of stuff that you might need today and pay in installments. And interests are not that crazy for what they offer. Okay? Wait, let me give you the affiliate link. Anyway. All right, going back to this. Hypothecation. Everybody got it? Is there anybody that did not understand yet hypothecation? Anybody? All right, I guess we're good. Next thing we have is trust deeds. In front of trust deeds, I want you to write similar to mortgages. Similar to mortgages. Okay? Everybody should know by now what a mortgage is, right? A mortgage equals house. So a trust deed functions in a very similar way. It's a document that represents the house and entitles the bank, the lender, to get the property back. Okay? If you don't pay. The only difference is in certain states, they do a non-judicial proceeding, right, which is a trustee sale. But here in New Jersey, for instance, we are in a judicial state, so we have to go through foreclosure. Whoever has a trust deed can gain the property more promptly and simply than the lender who forecloses on the mortgage. What is this? In states that are non-judicial, right? They're not going to ask you if it's in judicial or non-judicial. They want you to know the difference between them. So in states that are non-judicial, or that allow non-judicial structures like this, or loan structure like this, they bypass the whole court system. They go from, okay, you defaulted, quick notice, another notice, hey, just to let you know, in about 2 or 3 months, your house is going to be sold. So 1, 2, 3. We're looking at anywhere between 6 to 7, maybe 9 months at most for you to lose your house from the moment you stop paying to the moment they issue the sale, right? So 6, 7 months, maybe 9 if they're like backed up, 9 months, and there goes the house. In a state that requires a foreclosure, so judicial states, right? Remember, foreclosure is a court action. So in a state that requires foreclosure, let's go through the same steps. You defaulted, so you stop paying. They give you a notice, hey, you're late, in case you didn't realize, right? They give you a second notice, you're still late, so this month plus 2, and then they go to court. It could be on the 3rd or the 4th month they go to court. The process in court could take a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. At that point, the judge ends the process in court and transfers to the sheriff, and the sheriff gives you notice. Hey, in 30 days, or in 60 days, or in 90 days, we're going to have a sale. You guys understand? So the same process that in the judicial states takes just a few months, non-judicial state takes just a few months, in the judicial state is the default, the foreclosure, and then the sale itself. You guys understand? So what's the difference between the trust deed and the mortgage? For state exam purposes, is just the fact that they can gain the property more promptly or simply, because they don't have to go through court as a foreclosure measure. Okay? Throw me questions you might have. Any questions? What would the question ask? You could ask what's the difference between these two, and one of the answers would be gain more promptly or simply. Another question could be a trust deed. In a trust deed, the lender has the right to and give you 4 options, and then the answer is still gain the property more promptly and or simply, so something towards that. Another question could have been in states that have mortgages, if a borrower defaults, what would be the alternative? And they will tell you foreclosure is the alternative. So that's pretty much what we're looking at. Okay. Mato asks, is the stage, hold on. Is the stage before a home goes to auction known as pre-foreclosure as well? All right. So let's address that. Pre-foreclosure technically is before entering court. So when people default, they're in pre-foreclosure, which could be a 30, 60, or 90-day period, sometimes even more depending on the lender. That technically is the pre-foreclosure. Because when you enter court, it says foreclosure action. So that's another misconception that's out there. People say, oh, they haven't been foreclosed yet. That's true. But they are in the foreclosure action. Pre-foreclosure should be prior to the action. So that's the default period that I was telling you, 3 to 4 months, right? Then you are in foreclosure, but you haven't been foreclosed yet. Because foreclosed means they auction the property. You can understand? So pre-foreclosure, foreclosure, post-foreclosure. The moment there's a decision by the judge to sell your property, you're pretty much done. Unless you can somehow come up with the money, you're pretty much done. Okay? But I'll explain all that towards the end. And by the way, if you can, these are the best leads. Pre-foreclosure. During foreclosure, if you're towards the end, so if your market is going to be short sales or investing and all that stuff, if you are towards the end of a foreclosure, so let's say they're about to have a sheriff's sale, it becomes very difficult to rescue. What does that mean? Short sales are almost impossible at that stage. They're not impossible, they're almost impossible. All right, there's very few alternatives that you have at that point. Okay, we're going to talk about alternatives towards the end of this chapter. Any questions? Jeff, you look like you're about to podcast, man. Is that a microphone you got right there? You got the headphones, you got the mic. What's your channel? All right. Borrowing. I'm lost. Sorry, Courtney. The borrowing. Which statement did I make about borrowing? Was it here when we were talking about hypothecation, or in trust deeds where I said if you borrow money, then in a trust deed in non-judicial states, the bank can get the property faster, and judicial, it takes a little bit longer. Sorry, not sure right now. Jeff just wrote Bluetooth headphones to drown out the kids. All right. So if you guys ever want to drown out your kids, get Bluetooth headphones, and you're good. Courtney, if you remember, if I'll remember, I'll address it. I'm sorry. Soundproof. Okay, okay. Got it. That is so true. Never works with moms. I was just having that conversation earlier. My kids, I never taught them this. Never, ever, ever. But for some reason, they always go to mom first. I could be sleeping. You could be sleeping. But they go like, Mom, Mom. Mommy. Mommy. Mom. Anyway. This happened with all the kids. All right. Provisions of the note or bond. Provisions of the note or bond. What is a provision, right? We're talking about the terms and the disclosures that you agree to in the note or bond. You guys already know by now, right? You already know what a promissory note or bond is. It's an IOU, right? So if it's an IOU, what do you think you're going to find in this document that you're signing? You're going to find the amount of the debt, the time period and method of payment of the debt, and of course, also the rate of interest. So pretty much what we're saying is you're going to find the terms of the loan. In the note, you find the terms of the loan only. Okay? You do not find the house and the description. Right? You will talk about it briefly, saying, look at the mortgage document, but the promissory note talks about the loan itself. It talks about the IOU. Gotta be very clear about this. Because the mortgage document is a little different. The mortgage document talks about the lien. Right? And if that's the case, it talks about the property that's used as security for the debt. So it identifies the property and includes an accurate legal description of the property. Question. Where does it say loan? This is the mortgage document. Where does it say loan? It says right here that it refers to the terms of the note, but it doesn't talk about the loan. It doesn't describe again the loan. It says, hey, you've borrowed X amount of dollars against this property. Look at the promissory note, the other document that determines the loan itself. The mortgage document, as you guys see right here, refers to the lien, to the house. Legal description of the house. It's a document that describes the loan, the property itself. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay. So no questions, we're moving forward. We have duties of the mortgagor. Duties of the mortgagor. What are duties? Obligations. Question. Drop it in the chat real quick. We're talking about duties of the mortgagor. So who's the mortgagor? In the chat, real quick, who's the mortgagor? 39 people, come on. Who's the mortgagor? Not the seller, Jeff. Good. As you guys are answering, you know what the problem is of watching TikTok so much? That every time I hear Jeff, I remember the one that one that goes, "My name is Jeff." Right? Search that one. Courtney says you made a mistake because there's 2 E's in seller. Fooled ya. All right. Come on, guys. What are we looking at? We're looking at mortgagor being the borrower, right? So somebody that borrows the money and now becomes the owner, right? So if we're going to talk about the obligations of the mortgagor, it's the obligations of the borrower. That's what I want to get to. Jonathan says, I got my mom on TikTok. She's addicted to watching. You guys got to start getting addicted to actually doing it. It's the next best thing. Okay? In terms of marketing, the next best thing. All right. So obligations, these are simple. If you borrowed money, then, sorry. If you borrowed money, then you have to do what? You have to pay. Simple. If you borrow money towards a property, then you also have to maintain the real estate taxes. You have to pay the taxes, right? You also have to, because it's real estate, something could happen there and you get sued. So you also have to have insurance. Not only if you get sued, but also if the property is destroyed or damaged. These are simple, aren't they? Pay, pay, pay. That's what we got so far, right? Pay the debt, pay the taxes, pay insurance. Any questions so far on this one? Simple. Here is where it gets complicated. Hey Josh, are you in the flood zone? It looks like you're on top of something. It's either that or a mouse is crawling there and you just jumped. I'm just messing with you. It's the position of the camera and where you are. Just looked like for a second he crawled on top of something, like afraid. Meditation cushion. Wow. You mean mattress? All right, next. The next thing we got. There's 3 more items you guys need to pay attention to, and these are very, very important. The first 3 ones are very basic. Sorry, need to go. All right, so 1 second. This is my daughter. Okay. Everybody. Well, since you're here. I told you. The white and the black. Say hi.
Hi. Hi.
And I have the terrorist somewhere in the back. Thank you for the coffee. Appreciate it. Go, go, go. Close the door. All right. Thank you. Sorry for the interruption. For some reason, I had a feeling I needed to lock that door. All right. Tell the wife we're going to Africa. Let's do it. Let's all go. I was there a couple years ago, where she's from, and it's like, for me, if it was for me, I would have stayed already. Anyway, you can't trust mine. All right, real quick, but we gotta go. Can't trust mine to bring me anything hot. He's a speeding. If it was my 2-year-old, I would not trust him with anything hot or cold at all. He just dropped water all over the office a few minutes ago, so no. Where's the caretaker that dragged the kids out on live TV? You remember that one? She was like struggling, trying to not get on camera as she's dragging the kid out of the room. That meeting? All right, so let's go over this real quick. These three things right here. You have to obtain the lender's authorization before making any major alterations on the property. Okay, before any major alterations on the property. So if you want to finish a basement, if you want to finish an attic, if you want to expand your property, if you want to put a pool, those are considered major alterations. And for that, you need to have the lender's authorization. Who knew about this one? Who finished the basement or finished the attic or expanded the house or put a pool and asked permission from the lender? Let me know. Chat real quick. I'm so used to looking at the screen that I forget I have it real big right behind the camera. So, negative, did not know that. Okay, what happens if you do? We're going to address that in a second. Cool. Ready? Most of you did not know. It's normal. Big question. why and what happens if you do, right? Let's go over one more, and then I'll address that. Actually, I'll go through the three, and then we'll address that. Okay. The next one is you have to maintain the property in good repair at all times. What do you mean? If it's my property, I should maintain it whenever I want, not when somebody else demands it, right? So you have to maintain the property in good repair at all times. No, you are the owner, okay? Ms. Martinez just wrote, so we're not the owner. You are. I'll get to that in a second. Look at this last one. It says until the mortgage has been in place for 30 days, right? So you closed today, only until 30 days later, right, is when you can get a second mortgage or junior lien. So only 30 days later. You guys understand why? Here's what happens. Let me show you. Let's go one by one real quick. If you don't pay the debt, they have recourse because they're the ones with the mortgage document. They can go straight to court, right? For those of you that did Chapter 8 already, if you don't pay your taxes, what could happen? Let me know in the chat. If you don't pay your taxes, what could happen? Chapter 8, you did it. We ended with that. That could be a tax sale. No, the tax lien is there. Taxes are a tax lien. If you don't pay the lien, what can they do? They could foreclose on the property. That means somebody could buy your property and kick you out. You lose the house. Yep, right there. You lose the house. So guys, that's one of the reasons why the bank says one of your obligations is to pay real estate taxes. Okay? Now, the next one, it says you have to maintain insurance. Why? Why do you have to pay insurance, maintain insurance? Anybody? What do you think? If there's fire, if there's damages, right? If you don't have insurance and there's a fire, right? How are you out of pocket going to fix the property? Most of the times, the answer is you're not going to fix it and you walk away. So now the bank is going to foreclose. How are they going to get their money back? They will get some, probably the land value, maybe, but that's it. You guys understand? So they ask you to have insurance because if something happens, they recover the value of the property, okay? So going to the next one, I think you guys are kind of like already understanding why these obligations, right? We're into the next one. This ties in with insurance. Because if you make alterations on your property, let's think about this for a second. You make alterations on your property, but you didn't go through the proper mediums. You didn't ask for permits. You did not use a licensed electrician, a licensed plumber, right? If there's a fire, or if there's flood, as we just talked about, and you did not get permits to do the work, right? You think the insurance company is going to cover? So before you have to have insurance in case. Now I'm asking you, if you do the work without somebody licensed, without being able to prove that you went and got your permits and all that stuff, will the insurance cover? Let me know. What do you think? Most likely not. So if the insurance does not cover, again, now you are insured, but does not cover, are you going to put out of pocket the money to recover the property? Most likely not. So we go back to the same problem. You destroyed the value of the property. Maintaining the property in good repair at all times. Why? Guys, if you take care of yourselves, right? If you take care of yourselves, you stay healthy, most likely you're going to last longer, right? Most likely you'll be able to work. Most likely you'll be able to do everything you're able to do right now. If you don't take care of yourselves, then your health becomes dangerous for you and to your lifestyle. Does that make sense? So the idea behind this is the same. If you maintain the property in good repair at all times, the value, the value keeps upkeeps and all that goes with the property. So it keeps on being valuable, right? I'll address that in a second. I'll address this one in a second. But are you guys understanding so far where we at? The lender, just like in this one, this last one, is asking to protect their interest. Remember, they have to record who has priority in the event of foreclosure. Who remembers that? Who has priority in the event of foreclosure? Heidi, I'll address yours in a second. Who has priority in the event of foreclosure? First, taxes. And after that, great, so taxes. After the taxes, who has priority? The first mortgage. How do you determine who's the first mortgage? The bank. How do you determine? What if there's 2 banks? What if there's 3 banks? And Tamori just wrote the first that records. And the answer is the first that records. So what they're saying is you got to wait at least 30 days before you get a second mortgage. Why? Because we want to make sure that we are the first to record. You guys understand? Because the first mortgage could be, or what we assume to be the first mortgage in place, could be $500,000, and you can get a second mortgage, let's say it's a construction loan, for $50,000. If the $50,000 records first, who's entitled to foreclose first? The $50,000, not the $500,000. It's whoever gets there first. Very important. Okay? So again, your obligations, your duties, okay, including asking for permission, Tidy, I'll address again in a second, is pretty much to uphold the value of the property and make sure no damage exists to the property and nobody else can take the property away from both of us. Me as a lender, you as a borrower. And if I need to recover monies for any reason, at least the value of the property is still there and I won't go after you for more. So remember the scenario of a lease where if you rent from me, right, you give me a secure deposit, right? You rent from me, you give me a secure deposit. If you leave and there's damages, I'll give you money back minus itemized deductions. This is very similar here. If we sell the property and everything is okay, you get the profit from the property. But if there's damages to the property, I can actually go back and after you for the difference of all the damages and what the property is worth, the deficiency judgment. You guys understanding so far? So these 6 obligations are pretty much to protect the lender's interests and of course your interests as well. You are the owner, but they have an interest. Remember, estates and interest? They have an interest because they have a lien, right? And a lien is an easement, a right to the property. You guys remember all this? Those of you that are here in chapter 6, estates and interest, a lien is an easement, therefore a right to the property. Okay? Any questions? While you're typing questions, if you have them, while you're typing questions, let me address this one right here. So the Tidy's authorization was asking about the authorization before making major alterations. They don't want you to go like, hey, can I please fix the property or finish the basement? That's not what it is. They want to see that you went through City Hall if required. You went through City Hall to get the permit. They want to see that you used somebody that's licensed to do the work. And if you did, they'll just give you okay for it. It's not like, can I? No, show me that you're doing it the right way. Because if you do the wrong way, it affects my interest in the property. You are the owner, but I have a grip on that property for the next 30 years. Remember that. That means I have the right to foreclose if you don't follow any of these. You got it? I have the right to foreclose if you don't follow any of these. So if you fail to pay, I can foreclose. If you fail to pay taxes, I can foreclose before other people do. If you fail to have property insurance, I can foreclose before there's damage to the property. If you do something to your property where you finish the basement or attic or whatever, without permits, I can foreclose, right, to recover the property as is before there's any damage or potential damage. If you don't maintain your property, I can foreclose because it's losing value. It depreciates because of the lack of maintenance. Sometimes landscaping, I have to take over and do what's called winterization. I have to lock, if you see, as you guys are driving, if you see windows are shut, right, or doors even, they winterize it. They made sure that nobody can go in, and they turn off all essential services to the property, just in case. So they can take over. And the last one also, if I see as a lender that you put a second mortgage, I'm going to try to foreclose as quick as possible then. So any of these obligations could be a default on the note. Got it? They have the right to foreclose on the mortgage and collect on the note. The most common reason to foreclose, obviously, is lack of payment, because barely any bank is going to go knock on your door and say, hey, did you finish the basement? They don't. The insurance companies do. And if you guys remember, I don't know if you have a house or not, but if you guys remember when you fill out the policy agreement, right? It says that the policyholders are the homeowner and the bank. So if they do knock on your door to see the property, or if there's an issue with the property and they have to check the problem with the property, they can give a report to who? To both beneficiaries of the policy. And now the bank knows that you have a finished basement. All right? These are things that don't happen that often, but they do happen. A friend of mine had old student of mine, he had an issue with the property that she had bought prior to my class. And when I mentioned this stuff, she goes like, yeah, that happened to me. She bought a 3-family in North Newark, and she bought it FHA, first-time home buyers. So you're supposed to live there, as we'll talk about on Monday. You're supposed to live there. But did she live there? No. She was renting very cheaply where she was, so she never moved into the property. Well, guess what? The insurance company that she got was one of those smaller insurance companies, very good price, very affordable, right? But they have the right to inspect the property. So what did they do? They went to inspect the property. They knock on one door. Oh, I'm from the insurance company. I would like to speak with person so-and-so. Oh, she doesn't live here. Okay, that's weird. Note. Second floor, knock on the door. She doesn't live here. Third floor, knock on the door. She doesn't live here. So now, here comes the report to both policyholders. We went to inspect the property. Based on what you said, you were owner-occupant and blah, 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 blah. Here comes the bank now sending a letter to her saying, if you don't move in within the next 90 days, we will assume that this was mortgage fraud, which could lead to 30 years in jail and a bunch of penalties. Nice, right? Okay. Yeah. You got out way sooner for killing somebody. A mortgage? Don't do it. All right, let's see what we got here. First mortgage. All right, so Jeff wrote, want to see proper protocol. Cheap services can destroy the property, especially if not properly licensed. We already addressed that. Yep. That's one of the reasons why they ask us, we need to ask permission. It's not really like, can I? It's like, are you doing things properly? So as long as you have permits, you don't need to ask for permissions. No, you still have to submit all your information showing that you did do things right. Okay, Giselle, they have this, they have it in the note. No, they have it in the mortgage. It's the duties of the mortgagor, not duties of the borrower. A little different. I'm going to ignore this comment, Erica, real quick. I'm going to ignore it. Guys, you did not see this, where Erica is promoting mortgage fraud. It's Erica Rojas. In case the FBI comes, it wasn't me. All right. Mattress in the basement. You're not supposed to sleep in the basement even if it's your house. Just saying. That was a good one. You guys are gonna do great. Mr. Buyer, don't worry about it. You don't have to live here. Just put a mattress in the basement. Put some of your pictures right next to to the laundromat. Don't worry. Don't worry at all. If there's a fire, hey, it was just a picture of you. That's the only loss we had. Great. All right, guys. Let's see what we got. All right, two more things and then a quick break. Provisions for default. There's something called, it's National Kids Day apparently. Right, Mauricio? Provisions for default. There's something called acceleration clause. Acceleration clause. What does it mean to accelerate? Go to the chat. What does it mean to accelerate? All right, as you guys are answering, let me see. My aunt has her basement rented for $1,200. Tidy, why not live in the basement? I thought you could. Nope. Every town has their rule regarding that. Most towns prohibit you from doing so unless it's a legal apartment. For you to get a legal apartment, you need to get a permit from the town showing that you have at least 2 fire escapes, just in case. Right here, Leslie, town. It's what I just said. Town. If the town approves, yes. Don't assume or presume just because you have 2 exit doors, right, that those are the fire escapes and it's legal. In fact, when you do one of the requirements by the state, we talk about this, guys, in chapter 9. One of the requirements by the state is that you have a smoke inspection, so the fire inspection. That means they want to see that there's no locks in the basement. They want to see that it's easily accessible. If somebody's trapped down there, they can leave. So the basement cannot have door locks. They can have doorknobs, not door locks. Mauricio, I don't know if you're screaming at me. I don't know what's going on. He's just yelling at the camera. I don't know. All right, so what it means to accelerate, to speed up. Now to speed up what? Portuguese neither. Just the answer for Erica real quick. Maurice, you're putting in your food order? That's how you do it? You yell at people? I want my pizza with pepperoni. Now. All right. Go here. So when we're talking about acceleration, it means to speed up. Speed up what? The debt. The entire debt. That's what we're accelerating. That's what we're speeding up. So, what we're saying here is, you borrowed 300,000. Gariel, no. You got to get approval from the town. And you borrowed for 30 years. So this means you borrow 300,000, and as you make payments over the years, the balance eventually will reach 0. Okay? You guys got it? This is called amortization, as we'll talk on Monday. Amortization. To kill off slowly over time, so it dies down over time. Okay? Now, let's say, I always give this same example, easy to remember. Right here. Year 15, you defaulted, you stopped paying. So default. Stopped paying. Okay? I told you before that they give you notice. Hey, you missed a payment. You know, so it's last month and this month. 2 months later, if you don't pay, hey, you might have not noticed you missed 2 payments, right? 3rd month, they go, all right, you're not paying attention, so we're going to enter into foreclosure if you don't pay. So by the 3rd or 4th month, they start foreclosure. By the 3rd or 4th month, they start foreclosure. So, so we have 3 months, let's say, and let's say that the payments are $2,000 per month. Okay? If you missed 3 payments, how much do you owe? How much do you owe? 6,000 plus late fees? No. Your debt has accelerated from here to here. And at this moment, 15 years later, you still owe 240,000. So how much do they want at foreclosure? The entire debt due and owing immediately. When they start a foreclosure action, guys, they don't know if you miss 3 payments, what guarantees me that you'll pay 6 now and then keep up with the payments? So what they're trying to do is, let me put an action now, at least the judge knows that they have defaulted, and I'm trying to claim the full amount. See, this way, if they don't pay the next month, the one after that, and so on, we already have the action going. Guys, same thing as eviction. If you pay late, what can I do? I can take you to court. Does it mean we're going to finalize and we're going to go to eviction? No, because if you come up with the money, we're good. By agreement, I'll take the case out of court. Does that make sense? But what I want is this. I accelerated the default to today. It's not the late fees. It's not the 6,000 plus late fees. No, 240. All right, so let's address what Jeff wrote. Plus fees. Wait, there's more. Plus interest. Got it? Oh, and if we have to have an attorney represent, obviously, plus attorney fees as well. Oh, wait, there's more. Plus daily charges. So not only the interest you owe, they put an additional penalty, which is in your mortgage. You guys should read your mortgages now, right after class. But it shows that if you default, they're entitled to recover legal fees, which include court fees and attorney fees. The interest does not stop, and for the amount that you're behind, they charge you an additional daily charge. Great, right? You guys understand? Yeah, Mauricio, it's the 2 o'clock in the morning commercial. But wait, there's more. Yep, always. All right, who has a question here? We got 40 people on the line. Any questions here? Did I explain it right? I'm glad Rian just yelled, we're almost home. I still see him outside. Yeah, Ariel just said, you know what? I cannot rent rooms. I'm leaving. So he's outside. Hey, Leo, coming in the camera is not going to help. It's not going to help at all. Doesn't change anything. He's like, wait, she's outside, but she was with me. No. You're done with classes. She just started classes. All right, no questions here? Lida, can I explain the graph? Yep. So what I was showing you here, Jeff, standing up is a lot easier. So you borrowed 300,000. I see everything, guys. I'm sorry. I'm bad. For those of you that know me in class, like live class, I do the same. As I'm teaching, I'm so comfortable with the material that I'm paying attention to what you guys do. Yes, and I am picky. I see every movement. I hear every word. I'm horrible. I'm a horrible teacher when it comes to that. So, Lida, real quick. You borrowed $300,000, right? That's what you got for the mortgage. And you borrowed it for 30 years. This is the term, for 30 years. Okay? What I was telling you is that over the years, the $300,000 you borrow, they start winding down. It decreases because over the years you're paying down your debt, right? Right? So let's say that you defaulted. Where's Lida? Right there. Okay, Lida, I'm looking at you right now. Let me go like this if you're with me. You're good so far? Okay, so you pay that. Now, let's say that 15 years after paying $2,000 a month every month, right here, so $2,000 a month every month, 15 years later, something happened in your life and you stopped paying, like you lost your job or some sickness or death in the family, whatever it was, right? And you stopped paying. What I was telling you is that you defaulted, and it takes you, I'll show you what was written in a second. So it takes you, takes the lender 1, 2, 3, or 4 months to foreclose. This is based on the Federal Debt Collection Practices Act, the FDCPA. They cannot collect from you right away when you default. They have to give you an opportunity of at least 60 days, to cure the default before it goes into collections. All right? So they give you a warning. Hey, you forgot your bill. Second warning. Hey, you forgot your bill. And maybe on the second warning, they're already telling you we're going to enforce something. By the third warning, traditionally they say, if you don't pay now, we will go to court. When they take you to court, they're not looking for the $6,000 that you're behind, the 3 months. They're not looking for that. They're looking for the whole amount that's owed. What is the whole amount that's owed? Well, everything that's still missing here to the day that you defaulted. You got it? So they're trying to collect the whole thing. Just in case you keep on defaulting, we want to make sure that the judge sees me as the one that's suffering from your default. You got it? Okay. All right, good. Let me know if you have any other question there. Meanwhile, I have a student that just wrote, at least there's no walk of shame when online. Because she was always late, Francis. Always late. And I always made her do the walk of shame to whatever seat was available. And usually there's like 1 or 2 seats in front because everybody avoids the front. So I made her do the walk of shame for being late. I'm glad you remember that, because I do too. Jeff is like, yeah, I know that too. He's like, yeah. All right, guys. The defeasance clause, just write one more thing and we'll go for the break right here. The defeasance clause, I want you to write defeat the bank, right? And then balance equals 0. Okay. So defeat the bank and the balance equals 0. What we're saying is when you hear the word defeasance clause, that means they no longer have a fee interest in the property. They have no interest in the property. You defeated the bank, you paid the balance down to 0, you're the hero, and they have to walk away. You guys got it? The property is now free of any grip by the bank. You paid it off. They have no further claim or grip. So no grip anymore on the property. The gauge for mortgage is gone. Is that clear? Give me a thumbs up if you got it. That was easy, right? Okay, so that was an easy one for us to go to break. And then we're going to talk about assignment of the mortgage, which is a little different from the assignments that we learned already in the past couple of days. All right. So guys, it's now 7:41, 7:50, because I need to go give a big kiss to my kids for bringing me coffee. Okay. So 7:50, we'll be right back. 9 minutes for those of you that complain about the accuracy of my minutes.